Hi, boys and girls. It's Miss McIntyre here with your annotations for Chapter 3. So, if you are watching this video, you watched the lesson, everything, but you have not read Chapters 1 and 2, go back, read Chapters 1 and 2, and then start Monday's lesson over, okay? So, today's annotations are assuming that you have read and annotated Chapters 1 and 2. Okay, so we are going to go from chapter 3 on. That's where I felt the most people were. So that's where we're going to start. So, Frankenstein, chapters 1 through 5, you should be on this Google Doc. It's called Frankenstein Part 2, chapters 1 through 5. That's what everyone should be looking at. Okay, so remember at the beginning, we had this section that said before you read chapter 1, we are going to be looking for these 4 themes. Okay, so this is very important. Remember, parent-child relationships should be highlighted in green. Beauty and ugliness should be highlighted in pink. Rejection should be highlighted in blue. And fate or destiny should be highlighted in orange. Okay, and I just went through those themes in the Monday lesson video. So if you need to, go back and watch those. Okay, so we're going to scroll all the way down to chapter 3. Original text by Mary Shelley. And again, you should have watched the read aloud, so you should have already read chapter 3. Okay, now we're just going back through it to do our annotations. Okay, 2 things I want to point out. You should be answering these sidebar questions. Excuse me. So you'll see them in the annotation organizer. Blue, 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 blue. Do, right there. There are some that will be questions, like this one said, look up the word omen. What does it mean? Okay, so you should answer those. And then there are some that will just be notes that I made, okay? And that's fine too. You can just leave those alone. But if you do see a question over here in the annotation organizer, make sure you answer it. That's one of the things I'm going to be looking for, okay? So I'm going to erase this really quick. And let's get started. So remember, we're looking for parent-child relationships, beauty and ugliness. We're looking for fate and destiny, and we're looking for rejection. So you'll see I've done one annotation here. This is about, this is about Victor's mother. Okay, so you see on her deathbed, the fortitude and benignity, that's a great word, of this best of women did not desert her. She joined the hands of Elizabeth and myself. My children, she said, my firmest hopes of future happiness were placed on the prospect of your union. This expectation will now be the consolation of your father. Elizabeth, my love, you must supply my place to my younger children. Alas, I regret that I am taken from you, and happy and beloved as I have been, is it not hard to quit you all? Right? So this is evidence that until the end, Victor's mother adored her children. This is going to become very important later on because we're going to see, does Victor remain like his mother? So when Victor has a creation of his own, does he treat it like his mother did? So this is an important note that even all the way to her death, she cared about about her children very much. Also, excuse me, for those of you who are asking a lot of questions about the weird relationship between Elizabeth and Victor, yes, you do see here that his mother did expect them to get married, him and his adopted sister. That's what she wanted to happen. These were weird times. People lived weird lives, and we're moving on. Okay, so this is about the mother. You can see there are a couple more things in here that you might want to highlight about mother and father, or I'm sorry, parent and child relationship. Like here you see, why should I describe a sorrow which all have felt and must feel? The time at length arrives when grief is rather an indulgence than a necessity. So he's saying he did grieve over his mother, but everybody grieves over their parents and he couldn't focus on it too much. So you see, maybe he's not quite as sad as we might expect him to be, considering his close relationship with his mother. So now he's going to go forward to college in Ingolstadt, okay? And he's going to have to leave Elizabeth and Clerval, his friends, at home in Geneva when he goes to Ingolstadt. So one of the things I had highlighted here for rejection, so I highlighted it in blue, is his goodbye to his friends as he went to Ingolstadt. So he is leaving and they decide not to say goodbye because they're going to see each other again, right? But in this moment, Victor rejects Clerval and Elizabeth. And he doesn't necessarily reject them because he's going to be their friend. He's going to write them, but he chooses his studies in Ingolstadt over staying back at home in Geneva with Clerval and Elizabeth. So, in a sense, this is kind of him rejecting them and rejecting the life that they had. So, this is a good example of rejection in the text. And the way I found that was whenever I'm looking for rejection, I'm looking for people leaving. Okay. So as soon as I saw this scene was going to be about the day of my departure or the day I'm leaving, I'm automatically thinking that there's going to be a rejection coming, right? Because I know that leaving and rejection are similar ideas. So that's how I know to be looking for moments of rejection in the text. Now, I'm not going to do all your annotations for you. Sorry about it. But I do want to show you a couple more things before I let you work on these. So we've got an example of parent-child relationships. We've got an example of rejection. But one of the things that we've been missing a lot is fate and destiny, but also we've been missing a lot of that beauty and ugliness. So we're going to try to look for some examples of those things, okay? So now he's getting to college, right? He had sufficient leisure for these and many other reflections on my journey to Ingolstadt. So we know he's on his way to Ingolstadt for college, okay? And now at length, the high white steeple of the town met my eyes. So he has arrived in Ingolstadt. Okay. The next morning, I deliver my letters of introduction and paid a visit to some of the principal professors. Chance, or rather the evil influence, the angel of destruction, which asserted omnipotent sway over me from the moment I turned my reluctant steps from my father's door, led me first to M. Crimpy, professor of natural philosophy. So let's focus in on a couple of these words. Chance is kind of another word for luck. Okay, so he says luck, or rather the evil influence, which would be like the evil version of luck, is what he's saying. And he calls that the angel of destruction, okay, which had asserted omnipotent sway over me. This is a big word way of saying which had complete power over me. Oh, I can't type. Oh, Lord help us. Okay. Complete power over me. From the moment I turned my reluctant steps from my father's door, led me first to M. Crimpy. So he's saying here that some version of luck, or rather like an evil version of luck, so not good luck, but bad luck, the angel of destruction is what he calls it, had complete power over him from the moment he turned outside of his father's house all the way to college. So this is a great example of Mary Shelley talking about destiny, okay? Fate or destiny. This is that moment where Victor's telling us, I had no choice but to become the person I became. Chance, this evil angel of destruction, led me down this path, and I had no chance. And every step that I took was guided by this angel of destruction. So that's a great example of fate here in this section, in this chapter. Okay. And there's one other thing I want to point out to you so we can see all four themes here. So he has this conversation with M. Crimpy, right? And M. Crimpy is not a nice man. He was very kind of flippant, or he kind of like pushed Victor Frankenstein away because he didn't agree with what he thought of him. Okay. So we've got two important things here. We've got a concept of Frankenstein's professors rejecting his ideas. So we've got this rejection of what Frankenstein had studied. Okay. M. Crimpy says, you've wasted your whole life on these books. You've lost every minute of your life that you've spent on this stuff that you love to study, and you're going to have to start completely over. That's a rejection of what he believes and what he thinks. And because of that, Victor has a negative view of M. Crimpy. Okay. And immediately after this, you see Victor begin to talk about M. Crimpy's appearance. Okay. So you see that as soon as M. Crimpy kind of turns himself on Victor, like Victor doesn't like him anymore, Victor automatically notices Crimpy's ugly appearance. Now, I'm putting this in quotes because, like, we know that beauty is subjective, but in this book, there are people who are shown as ugly and people who are shown as beautiful. And you can see here that as soon as Victor is rejected, he notices Crimpy's ugliness. This is very important because that recognition of Crimpy's ugliness is a reaction to the rejection. Okay, so it's important that you see these two things are back to back here. We've got, I keep forgetting I have this fancy little pen on here. Let's use it. So we've got rejection. Oh, it's hard to write with though. And then automatically the recognition of the ugliness. So you can think of this kind of like that thing when somebody might be really attractive to you and then they say something that you don't like and it's like automatically you see all the ugly stuff about them. That's kind of what's happening here in the text as well. So you see Victor's rejection by M. Crimpy and then immediately his recognition of his ugliness. So that's going to be two good places to see those themes here in the text. So what I'd like you to do from this point on, let me see if I have a good way to do this. Okay. Oh, you don't need that. So what you can do now is finish highlighting chapter 3, looking for any more evidence of our 4 major themes. And you need to answer the questions in the side annotation bar. As soon as you finish marking up your text, go back to Google Classroom and complete your chapter 3 check-in. If you have questions at any point, you can email me or text me. Remember, my Google Voice number is 252-227-0168. Okay, so you can email me at my school email or text my Google Voice number if you have questions about any of this. Okay, so go back through chapter 3, finish highlighting it, looking for any more evidence of the 4 major themes. You can answer the questions in the side annotation bar. And as soon as you finish marking up chapter 3, go back to Google Classroom and complete your chapter 3 check-in. If you have questions at any point, you can email me at my school email or text my Google Voice number. All right, thanks for listening to your annotations, and I will see you tomorrow for chapter 4. Bye-bye.